Hello, hello. Hello, it's your favorite melanin ma, aka Beauty and Bellissimo. You're tuned back into my channel. If you're new here, welcome. Be sure to hit that notification bell so you can be aware of any new content that I post. If you already are a subscriber, you already know the vibes. Get down. It is Sunday and I wanted to get ready with me. So I thought it would be a good time to get a little get ready with me done. I have some content that I'm trying to record today. When I tell you this year, I am so determined to do this. I just been feeling like life has been pretty good. I feel like I'm not one to like give myself grace, so I have to be honest. But you know, just like over the last week, I really have just like taken the time to just have some gratitude and validate like where I am right now. I really do appreciate where I am, and I want to, you know, live in the moment a little bit and celebrate me. So let's get into this video. I'm going to start off, as you see, I'm looking a little ashy. Not to mention the perfect lighting we have going on here. But I'm going to just use some pre-cleanse Dermalogica. So, like I said, I wanted to talk about Pre-Salon. Like I said, it is officially the last week of Pre-Salon for me. So, probably by the time this video gets up, I will be through the week. And I just feel like it's so much to, you know, talk about when it comes to this topic. If you don't know, Pre-Salon, I'm in cosmetology school currently. The first 18 weeks you spend in pre-salon. For us it was 19 because we had the holiday before you go on salon floor, where you pretty much finish the rest of your schooling journey. I know we will get into like some of the products that they did give us that I will recommend, but honestly Dermalogica is pretty good. I do not use it on like a continuous thing. I like to stick with my skincare ritual that I kind of have down, but I am trying to implement a couple things now to my skincare routine because I tried a new product like 2-3 weeks ago. No, I'm lying, it's been a month, and I've noticed like the result, and I said I definitely want to start adding new items to my skincare routine to break up the monotony a little bit. Yeah, I've noticed like this a difference. Like when I show you guys these transformation pictures of how my skin used to look, you'd be so surprised. Like I'm still surprised even with my slight, you know, breakouts. But anyway, so like I said, what I can say, this whole entire process is not for the weak. It's been a rough 19 weeks that has occurred. I feel like everybody that started when I started had the greatest dilemma. One being our first educator was a substitute. So that was haircutting module for me. Great instructor. Shout out to Miss Owens. Great instructor. Haircutting modules was a fave for sure. I can never stop putting the scissors down at all. My angles are quite well, if I must say. But it's been like, I never thought I would really like it because I always was scared of the scissors. You know, once you make a permanent decision when it comes to snipping, there's no going back. But in cutting, I've learned like it's just a lot with confidence. So I think it's funny to just try to dip into like where we even came to getting to beauty school period. And it's just so funny, like years before I've tried to go to cosmetology school. Many of the reasons why it did not happen was because I was not sure as to how I would go to school full time and work as well. Now, when I was fresh out of high school, yeah, I guess it was a few months because it was kind of like the next year. But anyway, Actually, that was the same year I started my dance company. Yeah, it was 2020. So once I got fired, it was like, whatever. I said, you know, I'm trying to go full throttle with what I got going on. And it took some time because not only was it hard to get clientele over the course of a pandemic, for crying out loud, but it was also hard to find people to like support you. You know, everybody starts talking about that journey of, you know, people really supporting you and helping you get your business off the floor. And it's so true when they say like it won't be anybody who is close to you. Now I disagree to a certain extent because I had a cousin, it was Sierra. We were really close and she passed away this summer, so that summer. So like honestly, once I got fired, you know, I was really like, we knew what we were doing. And she was one of them people like determined, young, ready to thrive, get up out of here type, you know. And she passed away, a very unexpectedly bad car accident. So I must say, like, I definitely went into a depressed period, but I also went into a lack of motivational period because, like I said, that was really my right hand. And I could not really find no thorough females, first of all, like her, let alone that was really trying to be on a business wave. So, like, honestly, my boyfriend, very supportive. He was helping me get clients and stuff like that, just trying to keep my, you know, motivation at that point. You know, and then granted, you know, it was always like a here and there thing. Now, fast forward on to me having my son. When I went back to work after having him, bro, I was not the same person. I was not the same person going back to work. Like, when I tell you the irrelevant conversations, all the little dumb things that I might have, like, tolerated before. I don't know what happened, but it was just like I didn't care. You know, I just wanted to go to work, do my job, and leave. And I just felt like that was just never being able to be the case. Like, just going to work and dealing with the energy, I felt it way harder than I ever have in my entire life. And I also had this mentality like, hey, if I'm spending time away from my son, then we need to make this time count. And I just felt like it was just not a good way of counting. And I started, because I like thought about the ways that I supported myself during the pandemic without working, you know, a job or whatnot. I kind of had this like mental already, like, I kind of went through the worst period of time without a job. So my dependence on money right now is not the way it used to be. Granted, you know, I have bills and stuff like that, but when I did the math in my head, it wasn't too much of a loss if I quit. And then, tell you, God works it. It's so crazy. My car got into a car accident and was totaled out. All right. So it was kind of like a blessing because I ended up getting my car paid off. And on top of that, because you know, if you ever been through the whole accident side of, if you ever been on like the accident side of things, you know, like it takes a while when you're going, especially when you're not at fault. Like, and this was a situation where the other driver was definitely at fault, but it was a long process, pretty much. It's a lot. Anyway, back to the story. So, like I was saying, if you know how that process goes, pretty much I didn't have to pay a deductible yet. They, you know, got the car taken, you know, to the whole process. But in the meantime, I got to have a rental car, so it was easy to still be mobile and whatnot. But as my job was getting on my nerves, I was like, you know what? I can look at this as a blessing, you know, because this is one less bill I have to worry about for at least for right now until we figure out what the heck is going on. Because honestly, I was so drained with the entire process that even getting a new car, unless they were literally like, hey, here you go, like me doing it on my own, was probably not going to happen. Because it was just such a draining process. Even with the rental, it's like you miss your flow, your vehicle, you know. So it was just like I was just kind of over the whole thing. So was it like a couple weeks, I realized like, all right, I'm gonna get this rental back because soon, you know, it's only a certain amount of days that the insurance company is going to cover. So I don't want to keep a vehicle. First of all, it was a gas guzzler. And I wanted my car. Like, if I wasn't getting my car back, I'd rather not been in any car. So I let the time run out on that, and once it did, I took it back, and I was on a bus, period. And where I worked, it was not like a crazy ride. It was like a bus to another stop, stop to the job. So it wasn't bad. Not having to worry about gas. And all I had to worry about was a weekly pass. But weeks of doing that, I was just like, bro, this can't be life. Like, it just can't be for me. I'm not happy here. I don't like the vibe in here. You know, it's when you're dealing with the public, especially the public that I was dealing with, it's like, bro, if you don't really care to treat people like they're humans at this point, I don't either. You know, like, the job was just insane. Like the way that, especially some of these men would just come up in this doctor's office, think they about to talk to you. I'm like, bro, absolutely not. And granted, you know, you have to maintain a level of professionalism, which I'm always going to do. But like I said, my thing started becoming, I just spent all this time taking care of my kid. This is what I left him to go do. I reconsidered the entire situation. So long story short, I put in my 2 weeks. Having a kid, it's like obviously I can't go without any income at all. So what I was doing was I continued to still teach dance. Now that was definitely paying me pretty decent for me to be able to maintain everything I had. So months in, I'm home pushing this hair situation heavy. And like I said, it's always going to be hard when you are not being, you know, supportive. And I kind of just felt like, wait, listen, like I do hair, but I'm not going to keep offering free hairstyles. Okay? Because at the end of the day, like, you can do all that free offering and people are still going to go to the next one and pay what they owe. So it's like, all right, well, what's up with this? So I literally was like, all right, months went by, you know, and I was like, all right, I'm trying to either figure out what's next for me. And I was tempted to go back to work or pursue something else. And the situation presented itself. I ended up offered 2 jobs and took the position, but then a week or so later I ended up turning it down. Long story short, I got into hair school, or at least enrolled. I hit a couple roadblocks while doing that. That was actually about to push me to be like, I don't even want to do this again. But when I thought about the actual last dilemma that I had, I'm like, I done literally already went through all this. I'm not even considering taking the jobs that I was offered. So why not just see what this is about? So once I went to the orientation and went there and then found out that my financial aid and everything went through, I'm like, well, this kind of can be good. And then on top of that, everything else was just working out with my son. So then I was like, you know what? Boom, I guess I'm going to hair school. And it was so crazy. I went to the orientation. The following week was when I started school. So I was already looking for a daycare for my son. We already had found a good one. So forth and so on. So I started hair school that next week. And that is how we got there. I ended up getting my kid like the first day. It was kind of cool, like opening up everything, seeing how everything was. It was really like dope. And then at that point, especially the day of, they give you your kit like the day of. You know, you opening your gifts and your gifts. That damn sure what it felt like. You opening up your supplies and everything like makes it surreal. So when I did so, it did, and that's how we got to hair school. Now, I guess now is a perfect opportunity to jump through all the obstacles or talk about the ones that was jumped through at least through each module. So like I said, hair cutting module, first dilemma, we didn't have a consistent teacher. Hair cutting, we had a sub, but she was really good. I love Miss Owens. When I say businesswoman, about her business, I loved her little pizzazz that she used to have, her little sassiness. Like I said, I got that hair cutting down. So everything was good. A couple people dropped the first mod, cool. Next module was hair coloring. Hair coloring, we got a new instructor. The dilemma with getting the new instructor was she was a fresh out of the teacher's educator program instructor. So fresh teacher. That came with a lot of problems, and honestly it was because I felt like it takes a lot to deal with the type of students that you're dealing with, let alone for the first time. And that's exactly what it was. I felt like, you know, Miss Brown was a newbie, and I felt like it just was a lot. And on top of that, you know how sometimes people are seasoned into certain job experiences because they've been physically doing that exact thing for multiple years. So in a teacher role, especially as an educator, if you've started like, you know, a while ago, and then you get to the point where you are a little bit older, you've already learned so many different things that already groomed you into where you are now and your comfort level. So I feel like if you are just starting off and you're, you know, older or whatever, it could take a while to just understand people and teaching, and, you know, realizing what's to take personal, what's to not, what's to get offended by, what's not, what to control, what cannot. Because I think because she was new, she was like enforcing a lot of things that did not have to be enforced, because like this is not, you know, this is an adult environment, so like some things was just like a bit much. I digress. It definitely was rough. Hair color was rough. And then on top of that, I felt like I didn't really get as much experience with coloring, because, I mean, granted, I'm already experienced, but at the end of the day, I'm here to learn as well. And I did not really get the amount of practice I would have liked to get with actual color. Surely did for surely did for lightening hair, but I just felt like I would have wanted more, the school to be able to kind of like pull products more, I guess. And because once again our teacher was new, I felt like it was like this very thin line between like asking and expecting you know, the administrative to give you certain products and do certain things. So whatever. Now skincare was next, one of my favorite modules. I feel like I want to shout out Cherie. I'm gonna drop her Instagram down here, because honestly, I have to give credit where credit is due. I would probably not be as like, I wouldn't have loved skincare as much if she wasn't there, because as the student educators, they're allowed to do activities and stuff like that. They're supposed to be, you know, share activities with the primary instructor or educator, as you would say. I felt like Ms. Brown gave her student instructors that like she would allow them to definitely do whatever projects and stuff that they wanted to do with us very freely, versus other classes, I can say. But waxing, fell in love with waxing. I really fell in love with waxing more than I thought I would. It's a simple process, but once again, a lot of things is all about your technique. And once you realize like the technique is what's going to keep the clientele coming, because it's a matter of how comfortable you're making people, you know, and your method to what you're doing. It's pretty much like the base of waxing, but we'll get into that in another video. So yeah, awesome. And I would have wanted to go deeper into it. Like, even though every module is of course like pre-entry, if you didn't know that, please know that, please. Everything is like pre-entry. I still would have probably wanted to go deeper, just into the things we were still supposed to do. Like, we were supposed to, some previous classes would have, you know, made skincare lines, and like different things that we didn't get to dabble too much into that at all. A lot of drama was happening, especially in skincare, because they also ended up merging us with another class at the time. And of course they were of the younger breeds. So I felt like it was just difficult for them to just come over without being so like on guard and defensive. And unfortunately, some things that happened with like the teacher was not making it any better. So now you're like forced to come into a school that is just like a bunch of problems. And as I will, because I will make a actual like tip video that I'm gonna get done. But as I say in there, and I'll say now, like, everybody's complaints is like different. Even when you're in Pre-Salon, for example, there's people who are going to complain about the most redundant and irrelevant things, yet they're not taking the initiative to do what they're supposed to be doing. Like, for example, a lot of times people would be too much on a teacher, and that's where I was like, you know, yeah, y'all need to chill, because there's a difference between, you know, expressing yourself and trying to get to the root of an issue and solving it, versus just being blatantly disrespectful because you think you got a point to prove in this class. And that's pretty much where it was just heading at that point. Like, people are mad about their attendance dropping, and the fact that they're missing days, missing work, missing work, and I mean like schoolwork, and missing out on the theory. And then when it comes to like taking these tests, you're failing, and then you want to sit up here and complain about the education and school and all that kind of stuff, when in actuality nobody said it was perfect. But it makes that complaint like a lot more, you really be pressed to complain when you are part of the problem, you know what I'm saying? But I can say one of the things that helped me was my attendance and knowing that I'm coming to show up. I left early one day before, and I did not like the way it made my attendance look. It dropped like 1% or whatever. Granted, I ended up making that time up, but it's just like the fact that I allowed it to drop because I had to leave early because of what's happening in this classroom. We're going to have to figure something out because we can't keep allowing this to happen. And that's just what I did. Now, one module, I think it was skincare. It was either skincare or hair coloring. I was really sick. And I was definitely like going in there no matter what. But that day, I was like, no, I gotta stay home. So I ended up, out of all 19 weeks, I only missed one day. Son and all. Why I say it's something to be proud of. Especially like when I've always been determined. Like I said, no matter what, my son will not be an excuse for me not finishing. Not finishing, not going, not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. My son will never be an excuse. Like, so I feel like I just always kept to that. Like, listen, whatever you gotta do while you here, you need to do. And whatever you need to do to keep your sanity where this doesn't come back home with you, you will do as well. So I started following that model, and just like I said, being more serious about the things that I need to be doing, and just trying to have a more positive attitude. Because I tell you, the first week, I remember like I was one of them like, yo, y'all tripping in here. Like, we gotta bring better energy into this classroom. Try by the third module, I start wasting my day on breath. So yeah, they don't care. They do not care, sweetie, about your speech or your motivation in the morning. And there was nothing wrong with it. But that's what I'm saying. Like, people's complaints and problems don't be the same at all. Like, at all. And then on top of that, it's like, I feel like even being done is so important for people, especially if you're taking on this venture of cosmetology. I feel like it's so important for you to really, like, everybody first day, oh, I'm here to network and I'm here to, you know, do this, be professional, learn professionalism, you know, and all this other stuff. But a lot of people are not there to be as serious as you, especially if you're there for serious. They may not be as serious. Like, every day my motivating factor was my son. But let's talk, what, chemical texturizer? By the time we got the chemical texturizer, life was balancing itself out, because we ended up getting switched to a teacher who's already been there, and who actually class I was trying to get switched into. Especially after the previous module, I said, you know what, this ain't even education anymore. This is Bad Girls Club reunion every day at this point. And I wanted to get switched to her class because it just seemed like even with skincare, there was just so many things that her class actually did, because they were over there focusing on the lesson and doing the work that they were supposed to be doing. Not all this other stuff that we had going on in our classroom. So I was already like trying to get switched over, and I guess at the time they said we couldn't do that. So I was like, oh darn. But come that following week, on the new week of the module, switched, and I was so happy. I said, won't he do it? Because it was hard. Like, it's like I'm not a person that likes to stay in places like that don't serve me. And I just feel like I said, it was just so many other things happening outside of what we are there for, you know. But I was just, like I said, thankful that I stuck it out. Unfortunately, even dropped. Like, each module definitely was a drop. And that can get discouraging too. But that's why I also suggest, like, just, you can be friends, you know what I'm saying? You can have friend groups and circles and all that kind of stuff. But just be cautious, because you don't want to be rocking in a group that is not going to really be making sure that you're there and you're staying there, you know. Oh, what happened to the leaders around here? It's like, you really got to be your own leader, because no one's going to do it. No one's really going to. It's like, no. We are not all here for the same reasons. The chemical texturizer was fun. It was stinky, but it was definitely fun. Even when it just came to like learning so many things, like, and that's why I say as a black community, we have to do a little better, because it's like we can't be so stubborn and we don't even know what we're talking about. Like, we've been calling perms for how long? Perms is not a perm that we think it is. Perms is for people that have like straighter form hair and they want to get it to a jerry curl or a tighter curl. Relaxers is technically what people would have been calling a perm. When I found that mess out, I said, that's why I don't be listening to people. Got you out here sounding crazy. Perm. And I still be having to correct myself. But I said, no, this is really bad. Like, this is really bad. That one, it had me sitting down for like 2 weeks. Design principles, really chill, pretty good mod. I will say, like, by this point my back was like really bad. I did start physical therapy starting last module, which was chemical texturizer, and I must say it was so necessary, and I'm so glad I was able to do that. And thankfully the place that I kind of liked was near my school. It was like right around the corner, so it's kind of convenient. It made me feel good, especially when Mount Grwm went and was like on complete shutdown when I was done, because I was in so much pain. But I'm just like, you know what, I'm so glad that I'm just prioritizing my body, especially since I used it so much when it came to like standing up and the mannequins and all that kind of stuff. It's like, I'm really glad that I'm taking the time to get my body checked out, because it was, when I say it sent me to the ER in pain, I was in so much pain, like so much pain. I don't know, is this like in my light it looked good, but in this camera light it looked a little crazy. That looks a little better. So as a chemical texturizer, we had design principles, like I was saying. It was pretty good. Like I said, that's when my back was starting to like kick up and pace, and I had to.
She lying.
Get on.
She lying.
There we go. Okay. I see what you did. That's a good way to promo it.
Right.
And that 1, 2, 3.
You can pick.
Pick order.
If you want something customized, then
That's another conversation. I'm waiting on mine. But yeah, chemical texturizer. I'm sorry, design principles. We had a good loctician come in and do a demo for us. As well, gave a lot of experience on like shop life and why I already know it's not for me. Always starting. That's why I be having to edit extra hard. What do you want to watch? Anything? But anyway, yeah, design principles was, you know, when it started getting real, like, oh wait, we only have one more module to go after this. Yeah, it's time to get serious. So like I said, it was pretty chill. Starting to get irritable with the Pre-Salon experience. So, because they started changing things. Like, for example, we would get our need to knows every module, which was pretty much the words you need to know. It's in a book, but it's like all the definitions and everything on like 3 pages or however many pages, and it's just easy reference. So I guess people were like utilizing that instead of studying. So they were like primarily focusing on that more than the other part of the book. So they stopped the need to knows at design principle module. Killer. But I had got some eyes for that module. So that was that. And I told anybody else, y'all need to know, come get me, because I will leave them on the low. Because that's just crazy. Like, people are, one of the most irritating process of school Pre-Salon. Some people are here for their education and they're here to learn. And unfortunately, the rules get twisted and turned and changed because people want to come here that don't really care and want to interfere. And I just felt like it was never fair. And that's greatest things of Pre-Salon that I hate and I don't agree with is it's not fair that somebody else should have to, you know, not reap their benefits because somebody else didn't appreciate it. But whatever. And then here we are at nail module. Now, it's so crazy. Like, when I first got my nail kit, I did, you know, start going in on my nails and whatnot. And I didn't really see it being something that I wanted to do. However, when I actually went through the module, I kind of seen like, okay, I can see me doing press-ons. Because by this point, I done went through all other modules. And I've like, all right, boom. I know my niches now. I know what I'm going to be focusing on once I do get on pre-salon. Because I feel like, I mean, when I get on salon floor. Because when you're on salon floor, that's where life starts to like start being surreal, you know. Even now being done, I feel like now we can have more serious conversations about talking business with other people that's trying to go into business. You know, everybody was all that when we first started. Oh, who ready to open up, go into business with each other? It's like, no, I would strongly suggest that you wait to see who makes it to the salon floor with you. Because there are so many people that's about to sit there having that conversation and don't make it. Which is sad, but we talking business. You don't want to sit up there and create a whole business plan around somebody who's not even as serious as you are. So it's definitely something to keep in mind. But yeah, I really realized like my niche is with the nails is press-ons right now. And once I got my drill and I started like really seeing how I can do shapes, especially with me, I've always been a good shaper. Because even with my own nails, like I can always judge a good set by how good somebody did my nails. And not every time will somebody get those angles right. But when I got it, I was like, oh, wow. Like, I think this might be something to think about. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not going to sit up there and just do it because for the sake of doing it. You know, I want to be able to, like, really like what I'm doing. But not only that, like, be good at it. And I also started, like, reconsidering a lot of things when I really seen how much work really goes on to my back with the whole cosmetology thing. Like, I knew I wasn't trying to be like hustling in no hair salon for hours. Like, I didn't feel like that was my life, especially since I have a kid. I didn't feel like the shop life in that aspect was going to be for me. Hold on, I'm putting a lash on. And not everybody know how to run the business, okay? There's so many shops right now. You walk in there, find like 5 violations before you even hit the shampoo booth. And it's just like, yeah, those aren't even the best situations either. So that shop life is real. We've been able to sit down. Oh, we've been able to sit down. So it's been real like soothing, I feel. Because now I can actually zero in on what I'm doing. But yeah, nails have like just being able to sit down and do my work has just really made me realize like what I want to do and like what areas I may like have fallen off of over the course of these last few weeks. I feel like that's why I feel the pre-salon situation is kind of good, because you get to go through every part of at least the basic cosmetology and, you know, learn what you need to learn before trying it. So, because it's not about what you know, because as I love to say, like, oh, I know what I'm doing, I don't need to be in school. Well, you know what? If cosmetology was strictly about knowledge, if it was strictly about talent, there wouldn't be a requirement. But clearly, talent is not keeping these floors sanitized and that barbicide free of those debris. So there's clearly some knowledge that needs to be known. I just need to do this one over. Hold on, let me just get my light better. So anyway, I feel like the camera got moved a little bit. I had to change the battery, but long story short, yeah, like nail polish has been like really relaxing, and like I said, it just makes you realize like where you are right now, and the entire process, trade, I guess, type programs or whatever is just so not giving us credit. Because like I said, to come to a place by your own will each day, deal with whatever comes on a pike. It's hard, you know what I'm saying? And it takes a special type of person to be able to do that. So if you've done it, first of all, for all of those who have done it, especially the graduates that we've had, I'd be literally taking my hat off to each and every last one, because first of all, y'all have been doing it way longer. And a lot of times there are returns, you know, or should I say re-entries. There are just so many people who already been through the process and they're just trying to get the freak done. And just to see like so many people like finishing has just been so cool, because you don't always get to see that genuine, you know, love and happiness for people's success. And I'm all for it. And it's just like, if you are pursuing this route, stick with it. You know, you have a reason why you're here. And if you don't have a reason, I guarantee you'll either find one if you're really serious, or you'll not have one and just waste your money. But I just feel like, yeah, like it's a really dope experience. Nothing's really better than being able to, you know, be able to work for yourself. Rather you work independently with another salon or whatever your goals is, like, or you want to own your own thing. I feel like nothing is wrong with whatever you want to do. Like, whatever you want to do is what you're going to do, and then that's it. Yeah, and I want like people to like really know, like, if you're going to pursue it, this is like the reality of what that could look like for you. And it's nothing wrong with being real about it, you know, but it is wrong with faking, you know, so don't do that. You'll be fine. Trust the process. If you're really serious about it, don't let anything stop you or throw you off your pointers for getting done. You got it. Never feel like any accomplishment is too small to celebrate, especially when you're going down endeavors that you've been trying to go down for numerous times. No celebration is too small. And always know too, you don't ever have to have anybody celebrate you but you. And if you do get somebody to celebrate for you, that is a bonus. Like with me, I've gotten pretty far by like not imagining like things to be certain ways in which they really aren't. So I kind of feel like, because we kind of live in a world that easily like feeds into a fantasy, that we need to be like brought back down to earth. And I'm like always for like, I'm always that road friend to be like, bro, it's never that, you know what I'm saying? Kind of like, it was never gonna be you. It was never gonna be you. Like the TikTok, like the guys be so raw, like that was usually me. Like, check that again, sis. That's all we can really talk about today about is that, you know, like I said, I just want to shout out to those who rocked through when I started, which is definitely my yay and bang, who's in my mind and who's going on salon floor with me. So, but without any further ado, I will see you in the next one. Definitely hit that notification bell again, and if you have not subscribed, be sure to do so. I love you all.